I'm Sonya Masoko, and when I started Ayurveda, I was really learning in Hong Kong how to apply Ayurveda to my practice. I had lived in Hong Kong for a period of time and I was working for a fashion company. And in those 10 years of working for this fashion company, I got really sick. And at first, I was going to regular doctors. And then someone said, well, you might want to see a naturopathic doctor. And then someone said, oh, you might want to see a homeopathic doctor. So they said, "Oh, you might want to see an Ayurvedic doctor," and that was the
Mm.
the real way of introduction. I did study many things while I was in Hong Kong, in terms of, Chinese medicine and also naturopathic medicine and herbs and essential oils, but nothing really made as much sense as Ayurveda. And I moved here to New Mexico to study Ayurveda. The lessons of Ayurveda seemed like second nature. What I was learning seemed like they were already in me, and there were things that I was already doing that seemed like logical, and but I didn't have a frame, and Ayurveda provided that frame. In Ayurveda, the ether, air, fire, water, earth correspond each to a sense therapy, and some people might gravitate towards something. However, that wherever they gravitate, like likes like, but like can increase like. So, it might not be the ideal therapy for them. So just understanding how that works, these are things that we will explain a little bit further when we come up to our intensive. So ether corresponds to sound, air corresponds to touch, fire corresponds to color, water corresponds to our sense of taste and things that we eat and drink, and earth corresponds to smell. Now, actually, one of my teachers when I was at the Ayurveda Institute was also a teacher for the Maharishi school, and he was a really big proponent about learning and diving deeper into these five sense therapies. And in that diving deeper, you could really notice the difference between listening to one music as you wake up in the morning versus listening to another type of music, or actually listening to the news. It's a choice that we make, but it actually will also trigger us to be in a place for the entire day. And if I have a room colored in one color, this will also uh, impact us. So everything will impact us. And so even if you're super busy, you can't be mute or turned off to what is happening around you. You're experience something, and actually bringing awareness to that is important, and knowing if that's going to be of detriment to you in the long term all day, or if it's going to be beneficial for you, this is very important. If you're listening to music, or if you're exposing yourself to some colors or some foods or some smells, because a lot of people are diffusing things, you might be exposing to yourself to something that doesn't agree with your body, and you need to be aware of that. But also, you need to know what can be used to heighten your experience during the day or to balance your body. Knowing how to manage that becomes the art of Ayurveda. So in Ayurveda, we have all these rules, and all these rules, to me, are like the alphabet. You need to know the alphabet, and we need to speak the same language in order to say something. But the poetry of Ayurveda is actually looking deeper, beyond the letters of the alphabet. So to me, the five sense therapies have a deeper meaning, and that is about acquiring more consciousness and basically working with that consciousness. And so typically when I teach Ayurveda, I always have, there's this intellectual knowledge, but there's also the experiential knowledge. I really sometimes don't like to label myself as an Ayurvedic practitioner, because I find that it's too limiting. Because I think that the label of Ayurveda is not important as much as the message of Ayurveda, and that's all inclusive, and it does not It doesn't define who you are, it defines how you are in the world. And so to me, that's the most important.